Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today what we're doing is taking a look at the Wohome S88 soundbar. So this is a soundbar that's been sent out to me for review. So it's just a budget soundbar, and it's intended for those who maybe have a secondary TV or a TV where they're not really that concerned about having surround sound or really good audio, but the built-in speakers on the TV itself don't perform quite to their liking. So this, as I say, it was sent out to me by Wohome themselves. Now they do actually have several soundbars as well as other items that they actually sell, but this is the only one that was actually available for delivery in the UK, so this is the one that they've sent out to me. If you do go on their store, either their Amazon store, which I'll have linked down below, or onto their website, you will notice that they do have several other types. So if you are somewhere else in the world, especially in the States, then you will actually have access to much bigger and better soundbars. We'll take a quick look at what we get with this particular one, and then I'll insert some clips of actual sound tests that I've been running, as well as my thoughts at the end as well. Okay, so firstly we do get the actual soundbar itself, and we do have a little logo just there. In terms of ports on the back, taking a look at it, what we do have going from left to right is a 0.5 amp USB port. We have a optical port, we have the coaxial connection, the TV ARC, the auxiliary port, and then the DC in. So what else do you get? You do also get a remote, and you have all the functionality on this. So going from the top, so you have the power button, you have the mute button, the mode button. Mode button, you can obviously change between the various modes, ARC, Bluetooth, all the rest of it. You do have some simple volume up, volume down, left, right, play, pause buttons, and just below that you actually have your three modes. So you have a music mode, you have a movie mode, and then you have a vocal mode. So depending on what you're actually using this for, what I found was that the music mode, as the name suggests, works very well for anything where you're just Bluetoothing music to the actual soundbar, because you can, if you don't want to use this with your TV, you can just use it as a standalone speaker as well. The movie mode I found is the best for anything to do with being hooked up to a TV itself. It works best when it comes to, and it does have, as you'll see further down, a 3D button. The 3D button just adds a wider sound stage to the actual sound. I wouldn't say it necessarily gives off a 3D sound as in being all around you, but it does definitely widen the sound stage. And the vocal mode, so that basically dulls down some of the bass from the actual unit. I wouldn't really recommend that, because one of the main reasons you'd want to use this is it does give significant bass upgrade. Not massively, not in terms of having a separate sub, because obviously this doesn't have a separate sub. It is just the built-in sort of speakers in the actual soundbar itself. And this particular unit, I believe, only has 2 speakers, whereas some of their larger speakers or soundbars do actually come with 4, 6, or possibly even 8 speakers as well. So yeah, the vocal mode, I wouldn't really recommend that. BT is basically just a quick shortcut to your Bluetooth. You then have a loop button on the remote, which you can use for looping all the audio. And as mentioned, you do also have that 3D button at the bottom. What else do we get in the pack? So you do also get a very thin optical cable that actually comes with the pack. This I actually really like, because if you do, like myself, if you do cable manage, it means that you can actually hide it away in the channels without it taking up the space of a normal optical cable. So I actually prefer the thinner one. This one wasn't actually long enough for where I actually had this plumbed in, so I did actually order another one, but it was basically identical to this. You also get a quick start guide with instructions on how to set up for various different modes, and how to adjust bass, all the rest of it, so you can take a look at that. You also get a pamphlet. This is obviously a much more in-depth sort of reading in terms of everything that you can do with the soundbar, including the various setups, including different types of connections, Bluetooth, USB, and then it just gives you some information in terms of the remote itself at the back, as well as some troubleshooting as well. What else do we get? So you also get your auxiliary connections as well. So if you want to connect these via old school method of a phono jack into the white and red ports on the back of any device. You do also get a few more bits and bobs. So you do get some wall plugs as well as fixings if you did want to actually fix this to the wall. And just on the back of it, you might be able to see just there, it does have the very simple type where you just screw in a fixing into the wall, and then it basically just drops down. I can't remember if this actually came with a template for the width between the two actual holes on the soundbar itself, but even if it didn't, it's not that difficult to actually work out. Simply point some tape down will actually give you that sort of width, and then you can work out where you need to drill your holes. Other than that, you just get a few pamphlets that you can obviously take a look at in terms of customer satisfaction and the rest of it. So that's everything that you actually get in the pack. What we'll do now is I'll insert some clips, various audio clips in terms of peak performance, as in the loudest. I'll compare it to my built-in speakers, and you can try and take a listen to what the sound stage actually, how it changes between the built-in speakers, which for that particular TV, they were actually meant to be quite good. They don't actually compare with the built-in speakers on the LG C9 behind me, but for what it was, pretty cheap TV, it wasn't bad, but this is a significant upgrade on that. And then we'll come back for my conclusion at the end. Hey everyone, so just wanted to add a quick test. So what I'm going to do is, via my phone, I'm going to play this particular track. So this is off YouTube, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly play it via my phone speakers. So this is the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and we'll get a sort of reading in terms of how loud it is, but more importantly we'll get an idea in terms of the actual soundstage as well. So as you can see, I've got a decibel meter set up here. Just normal speech is around about 70 odd decibels. So we'll see what this plays at, then we'll switch over to the actual speaker and see what that can actually output. Okay, so I believe that hit a max of around 104 decibels, but the actual soundstage itself was quite narrow. So what we'll do now is I'll just switch on the soundbar, wait for that to connect, and we'll have this roughly around the same sort of distance from the soundbar as well. And we'll go back to start. so sorry for your ears for that portion of the video. Okay, so maximum output via the soundbar is 111.5 decibels. Now, throughout my initial testing, I never actually got it to go that high. So I don't know whether it was just a glitch or the location or something, but for whatever reason, the output right now is massively higher than what I was actually getting. Maxing this out fully via Bluetooth now is actually very, very loud. So what I'll do is I'll get this set up back where I actually initially had it on the TV via the optical port, and we'll see how that actually performs. Okay, so conclusion time. So after all my testing, what I did find was I did manage to get the soundbar setup working via HDMI as well, so via ARC. However, at the maximum volume, 32, it's still too quiet during movies and TV series, anything to do with basically just watching TV generally, for me to be a standalone system. This is why earlier on in the video I actually mentioned the fact that my preferred way of actually using it is to use it via optical, and basically I just switch it on as a additional, almost like a sub, without it actually operating as a subwoofer, just to give it some low-end bass as well as give us a bit of a 3D effect with the 3D effect that's built in. I do keep the mode selector in movie. I feel that's the one that gives the widest soundstage. Music is probably a bit more punchier, and it centralizes all your channels a lot better, so maybe your vocals might actually come across a little better. But because of the way I've got it set up, I'm actually using the TV speakers, and all I need to do is basically maximize the soundbar. So I push up to 32. I then turn the TV speakers up until I can get the balance just right, so then the sound is actually coming from the TV speakers, and the soundbar is essentially just giving us some low-end bass as well as a bit more of a wider soundstage. Now, you will have seen from the Bluetooth test I actually did with my phone that via Bluetooth it actually gets significantly louder. Now, I'm not sure why, but even when I did set this up with the TV and I tested it through Bluetooth, it still seemed to have that same limitation. So the official quoted decibel rating for the soundbar is around about 90 decibels when you're sat back or during movies, TV series, and I found that the soundbar is roughly around about that mark. So when I had my TV set to 50% volume, it was around about the 70 to 76 odd decibel mark, which is roughly around about what you would expect speech to be, normal speech. So with that, it's probably at a level where it's a nice comfortable level where it's not really loud. But the thing is, when you're watching movies and TV series where you want to hear the action, or you just want to hear the fine details, that's when you want to crank it up a little, and that's what this soundbar and the TV set to 50 isn't capable of doing. Not on its own anyway. However, when they're combined, it actually makes for a really good setup. And as you will have seen from the sort of combined test, initially what I did was I was testing the difference between the TV speakers and the soundbar. So every time I turned the soundbar on and off, or muted and unmuted it, you will have noticed a very significant change in the bass. Then what I did is I pushed the TV speakers a little bit further. So I took the TV speakers, I believe, to around 73, 74, maybe even 76. Normally I wouldn't actually push it that high, but for this particular test I wanted to see how high I needed to go in order to actually create that much louder soundstage. And similarly, again, when I muted the TV speakers this time, you notice that there was a very clear drop-off in the sort of centralized, your center channel. However, the sort of bass tones still remained. Combined, the loudness of both the TV speakers as well as the soundbar made for a very good simple budget setup that you can use on a secondary TV, one where you don't necessarily want a full surround sound setup, or you don't have the space for a full surround sound setup, but it does still give you a much better soundstage in comparison to the TV speakers on their own. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's through all of my testing. So I won't be using it via HDMI ARC or Bluetooth via the TV, because it still tops out at around about 90 decibels. However, hooked up by optical port, this gives me a perfect setup where when I want the TV to just be in the background, I can just leave the soundbar off, and then whenever we want to just watch a quick movie or TV series in there, I just turn the soundbar on, set that to roughly between, let's say, 23 if I don't want it too boomy, or if I want to turn it up a bit more, then I'll max out the soundbar and then just match up with the actual TV speakers, and it makes for a very good setup. So yeah, I would actually recommend this for anybody out there that just wants a very budget friendly soundbar. If Wohome do actually make some of the other products available in the UK, then what I will do is I'll do a follow-up video, and basically I'll do a comparison between this one and any bigger systems that they can actually send to me. But for the time being, as I say, all the links will be in the description below. If you have any questions, just drop them down below. Other than that, the only thing to say is, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe to the channel and also hit the bell icon. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload any new videos. I'd really appreciate if you also give this video a thumbs up, and other than that, thanks very much for watching.